Ever feel like you're constantly saying yes to things you don't want to do? Like you're being pulled in a million directions, and none of them feel like your own. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And today we're going to talk about the one skill that can change all of that, setting boundaries. And most importantly, we're going to explore how to do it without that nagging feeling of guilt that so often comes along for the ride. So, what exactly are boundaries? Think of them as the invisible lines you draw around yourself to protect your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. They're not walls to push people away. They're guidelines to help others understand how to best interact with you and respect your needs. It's about saying, "This is me, this is what I need, and this is how I'd like to be treated." It's an act of self-respect, not selfishness. But I know knowing this intellectually and actually doing it are two very different things. That little voice in your head might scream, "You're being mean." Or, "They're going to be so disappointed." That's the guilt talking, and it's a major roadblock for so many of us. Let's be honest, we're often conditioned to be people pleasers, to put others' needs before our own. Breaking that habit is tough, but it's absolutely essential for a healthy, balanced life. So, grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into 6 practical ways to set boundaries and leave the guilt behind. First up, let's talk about clarity. You can't expect others to respect your boundaries if you're not even sure what they are. So, the first step is to get crystal clear with yourself. Take some time for self-reflection. What situations consistently leave you feeling drained, resentful, or anxious? Is it a coworker who always dumps last-minute work on your desk? A friend who calls you to vent for an hour every single day? Or maybe a family member who offers unsolicited advice on every aspect of your life? Identify these specific triggers. Write them down. For each one, ask yourself, what would I prefer to happen instead? What is my ideal outcome? This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding your own limits. Maybe your limit is not discussing work after 6 p.m. Maybe it's needing at least one evening a week entirely to yourself. Or perhaps it's not wanting to lend money to friends. Whatever it is, define it clearly for yourself first. This internal clarity is the foundation. When you know exactly what you need and why you need it, you'll feel much more confident and less guilty when you have to communicate it to others. Okay, so you know what your boundaries are. Now what? Step number 2 is to start small. If you've spent your whole life being a yes person, suddenly drawing a hard line in the sand can feel terrifying. So don't try to change everything overnight. Think of it like training a muscle. You start with light weights. Pick a low-stakes situation to practice. For example, if a colleague asks you to grab coffee when you're swamped with work, instead of your usual automatic, "Sure," try a gentle, "I'd love to, but I'm really under a deadline right now. Can we do it tomorrow?" See? That wasn't so bad. Or if a friend asks for a favor that feels like too much, you could say, "I can't commit to that right now, but I can help you with the smaller part." Each small success builds your confidence. It shows you that the world doesn't end when you say no. People usually understand, and if they don't, that's more about them than it is about you. Practicing in these smaller, less emotionally charged situations prepares you for the bigger, more difficult conversations down the road. This brings us perfectly to our third point. Use I statements. The way you communicate your boundary is just as important as the boundary itself. When we feel defensive, it's easy to slip into accusatory language, like, "You always interrupt me," or "You're asking for too much." This kind of language immediately puts the other person on the defensive and can escalate the situation. Instead, frame your boundary around your own feelings and needs. Use I statements. For example, instead of "You never give me any space," try, "I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed and need some time to myself." Instead of "Stop telling me what to do," try, "I feel more confident when I make my own decisions, but I appreciate your input." See the difference? I statements are about expressing your experience, not attacking the other person's character. They are less likely to be perceived as criticism, which makes it easier for the other person to hear you and respect your request. It shifts the conversation from blame to a statement of personal need, which is much harder to argue with and significantly reduces the potential for conflict and your own feelings of guilt. Our fourth strategy is a powerful one. Don't over-explain or apologize. This is where so many of us get tripped up. We say no, and then immediately feel the need to justify it with a long, elaborate story or a profuse apology. We might say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't help you move this weekend. You see, my cousin's dog has a vet appointment, and then I have to go to the grocery store, and my car is making a weird noise and..." Stop. Just stop. When you over-explain, you're subconsciously signaling that your no is negotiable. You re-giving the other person openings to try and solve your problems, so you can change your answer to a yes. A simple, polite no is a complete sentence. You can be kind and firm at the same time. Try something like, "Thanks for thinking of me, but I won't be able to make it," or "I'm not available for that." That's it. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation for protecting your time and energy. Apologizing for having a boundary is like apologizing for having needs. Your needs are valid. You don't need to be sorry for them. Be direct, be polite, and be firm. Now for our fifth point, and it's a big one. Be prepared for the reaction. Let's be real. When you start setting boundaries, not everyone is going to throw you a party. People who are used to you always saying yes might be surprised, confused, or even upset. They might try to push back or make you feel guilty. This is called a boundary test. They're testing to see if you really mean it. This is normal. The key is not to let their reaction derail you. Remember why you set the boundary in the first place. For your own well-being. Their reaction is their responsibility, not yours. You are only responsible for communicating your needs respectfully. You can't control how they feel about it. If someone gets angry, you can say, "I understand you're disappointed, but my decision stands." Stay calm. Repeat your boundary if you need to, but don't get drawn into an argument. Over time, the people who respect you will adjust. The ones who don't, well, that tells you something important about the relationship, doesn't it? This is often the hardest part, but holding firm is what makes the boundary real. Finally, our sixth and most compassionate tip: practice self-compassion. Learning to set boundaries is a journey, not a destination. You will mess up. There will be times when you say yes when you meant no. There will be times when guilt gets the best of you, and that is perfectly okay. Instead of beating yourself up, treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Maybe you realize you need to be clearer next time, or perhaps you see that a particular relationship needs some more attention. Every experience is a learning opportunity. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Acknowledge the courage it took to even try. Remember that taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's essential. By filling your own cup first, you'll have so much more genuine energy, love, and support to give to the people and things that truly matter to you. Guilt thrives on self-criticism. Self-compassion is the antidote. So there you have it. 6 strategies to start setting healthy boundaries without the guilt. Let's do a quick recap. 1. Get clear on what you need. 2. Start small to build your confidence. 3. Use I statements to communicate without blame. 4. Don't over-explain or apologize for your no. 5. Be prepared for pushback and hold firm. And 6. Practice self-compassion throughout the entire process. Remember, setting boundaries is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but with each small step, you're reclaiming your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. You are teaching people how to treat you, and most importantly, you are honoring your own needs. This is one of the most powerful acts of self-care you can perform. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on living a more intentional and empowered life. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's one small boundary you're going to try setting this week? Sharing your goals can be a great way to hold yourself accountable. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.